Hey there, it is Erica Aiden again here, your chakra aligning energy coach. And today in Energy 101, we're going to talk about the energy systems of your physical body. Now, we're going to get into the subtle bodies and then the energetic systems as well. But first, we need to know we have a physical body. This is the realm that we live in. This is the things that we touch and smell and see, all of those things. This is the ground floor tour of that physical realm. So, first, your physical body is not separate from your energy. This is the translator. Okay, so when your energy is doing something weird, you can almost bet that this is going to be also a part of your physical body. So let's get into it. So first, we've got the nervous system. Brain talks to the body through the spinal cord, and this goes into your central nervous system. Okay, your central nervous system has two big factors. One is your sympathetic system. Your sympathetic system is your fight, flight, freeze. This is when you're feeling that high energy. This is when your body tightens up and your breathing shortens, and this is where your mind speeds up. And we unfortunately live there a lot of the time. This is not healthy for your body. And the reason is because it's exhausting when all cylinders are constantly firing on all fours all the time. It doesn't get a chance to stop, to reset, and this is just causing long-term stress. Guess what? Anxiety, when you're sleepless, when you're constantly in overdrive, this can tend to lead to physical disease, dis-ease. This is when your body isn't working correctly. This is too much, too fast, all the time. So what we need to do is we need to learn how to regulate that. How do we do that? That is your parasympathetic system. This is rest, repair, and receive. Okay? This is your regulated energy. This is when the body can stop and breathe. This is when awareness ignites. This is when we feel our intuition. This is when we know the things that are around us that are going on, but we're not afraid of it. We're not constantly reacting. This is when we can respond and regulate. And then this is when your energy flows instead of spikes. Okay? So, some of the things that we can do to help regulate our sympathetic and parasympathetic systems is we can slow down just a little bit. Okay? Just slow down. Find a calm within the storm, within yourself. Like, what does that look like? Maybe turning off your social media, maybe turning off the news, maybe doing something that's just going to be mindful and restful. Sometimes even just cleaning your house can do this for you. Okay, so do that. You can be emotionally open instead of closed off. This is when we can also open ourselves up to having conversations with ourselves about what we're putting into our bodies. This is also talking about food and substances. Okay, sometimes we need those medications. Sometimes we want that glass of wine. But doing it too much just to help yourself regulate is not going to be healthy for you, because you need to also physically yourself regulate your own body, and then your brain's not on constant overdrive. It's not in constant fear. Okay? Next, we have our endocrine system. These are our hormones. Think of it as the chemical messengers in your emotional world. This is energy in liquid form, and we all have it. We just sometimes don't know how to regulate it well, okay? And sometimes it's because of age. Sometimes it's just we're not doing the things to help support and promote the energy, the consistent messengers are chemicals coming into the body. Just like I was just talking about, like drinking alcohol, right? That does influence your chemicals. That pleasure chemical, the serotonin and dopamine, that's what we're seeking. That's pleasure right there. That also affects our mood and our motivation. So think about the last time you drank a little bit too much, had a little bit too much there, and your motivation is completely gone because you've exhausted all of it because you've done all of that with something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to regulate that serotonin and that dopamine and find pleasure someplace else. Let's talk about cortisol and the stress and survival, right? This is also when we're starting to feed our bodies a little bit, maybe too much sugar. Okay, so we want, because it's stress, it's too much. Oftentimes, when we find, especially women of a certain age, when we start to gain that weight, it is because we are just living in survival and stress, and your body actually does know that we don't need a ton of food for energy. We don't need a ton of it. We can also regulate what we're eating. So, lean meats, vegetables, fruits, just natural things occurring to make our bodies naturally occur. How's that? And then, how about adrenaline? I love adrenaline. I love doing things that are really fun and really exciting and really igniting. But again, if you live in that realm and you're constantly just feeding your body adrenaline in unhealthy ways and not slowing it down, you're going to have too much, and that's just not going to be safe for your system. And last but not least, the oxytocin. This is your regulation, your chemical that is connection and trust and belonging. So maybe the next time that you feel like you're in a place where you're not connecting, where you don't trust yourself, you don't trust the things around you, maybe start to think about those places and those behaviors and start to build that up and regulate your own system. And then notice when you're in survival mode, whether it's perceived or when it's real, because there's real times that we need to be in survival mode. Just think about how your stress hormones dominate, and it's exhausting. So what else are we going to do? So we're going to figure out ways to hit our brainwave states that are going to regulate and put into rhythm your consciousness. The brain is electric. It's all electrical waves constantly. And the places that we need those things and the times that we need to be in those things are going to vary. So our beta is when we're thinking and when we're planning and when we're doing. And this is super useful because otherwise we're not doing anything. But if it's constant, it's exhausting. So we don't want to exhaust ourselves. We want to find our alpha waves. This is when we're relaxed. This is when awareness comes. This is when we've got calm focus, when we are the most creative, when we're learning something. So maybe reading a book or doing something that is creative that your mind isn't completely focused on, but it's got a flow to it. So think about that. And then theta, which is super important. This is the meditation states. This is when we are activating our intuition. This is when we have opportunity to heal emotionally because we're not constantly planning. We're not doing. We're sitting and taking just some time out to regulate ourselves, to breathe deep. We're going to get into breathing in just a minute, and our heart rates are going to go down. But this is a great time for us to reset. And when I was getting my certification in meditation to be an instructor, the thing that my instructor said, which was super profound, was if you don't feel like you have 5 minutes to meditate, then you need to take an hour. Right? Because if you're constantly going, then your body and your brain doesn't have time to sit and relax and just be present in your moments. And then something that's super important is igniting your delta waves. And this is deep sleep. This is when restoration happens on a cellular level. You're repairing and your energy gets to reset. And guess what? If you're constantly living in that fight, flight, or freeze, then you're not taking that time. You're not even able to take that time to reset and to heal on that energetic cellular level. So maybe slow down some, okay? And the amount of time that it took your body to get into this space of disease, oftentimes it takes at least that amount of time, if not more, to reset. So remember to take that time just to reset for a minute, okay? Maybe take a day. Maybe take a few days a month. That's all it takes. But make sure that you're getting sleep. And if you're having a hard time sleeping, then there's something else going on. And you just need to take that time to slow down. And take that time to be in a present moment. Sometimes it's awful scary. Sometimes it's really hard. That's why I'm here. Okay, just note. Next, we're going to talk about our heart rates and breathing. So we all breathe. We all breathe constantly. How many times a day do you stop, unclench that jaw, take a deep breath, be in a moment, take 4 or 5 different deep breaths just to be. And this is going to help you slow down with whatever you're doing. Because if we're living in that fight, flight, survival mode constantly, the body doesn't know that it needs to slow down. We're just telling it, go, 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 go. And when you are giving it only ways to react and not ways to calm down and think about, use the intuition, like slowing it all down, it's just going to keep going. And that is going to exhaust your entire engine. So when you take time out to breathe, you regulate your heart rate. You're also resetting your brain waves, getting back into that alpha state, maybe even getting into a theta where you're calm, when you're able to reason, when you're able to think logically and creatively and maintaining something that is completely different than the way that you have been allowing yourself to just react. We don't want to just react. We want to be able to respond. So why does this matter? Because you can't bypass the body. Guess what? If you're doing all of these things to your body and none of the things for your body, it's going to slow down. It's going to find itself in a state of dis-ease when things aren't comfortable and it doesn't feel good. It's not where you want to live. So what we're first going to do is we're going to realize that our physical systems are the foundation, and then we're going to determine how much energy we can hold at any given moment, at any given time. And then as you continue to figure out what energy you have and what energy you need, then you're going to figure out how safely you can feel receiving insights. Okay? So some of those aha moments come in those theta states. Okay? Some of those times when we slow down and we breathe. And then when we start integrating into our bodies, our subtle bodies and our energetic bodies, this is how our body's going to respond, whether or not the healing is going to integrate or if it's just going to float away. And if it's just floating away, you need more. You need to do more things to help ground yourself, because that's number one. And then breathing, number two, making sure that you can find yourself in the present moment. Regulation comes before elevation. So we can't find our nirvana, we can't find our calm states when we're not regulating our physical states. Remember, when the body feels safe, energy rises and flows. Okay, so ADO, right? The above, down, inside out. We talked about this a few episodes ago. Remember that we need to regulate on a daily basis what we're doing for and to and with our bodies. Remember. Okay. So next time we're going to talk about those subtle energies. This is just an introduction to your physical state, what it looks like, and ways to regulate those things. And if you need help, reach out. Send a comment, like, love, subscribe, and follow me here, because we're going to talk about those subtle bodies next, which is going to be super, super interesting. Hopefully that awakens some awareness for you. Energy starts in the body, and acknowledging it in yourself and acknowledging the things, not beating yourself up, but acknowledging that you need just a little ounce, a little help, a little, I got to slow down everything else that's going on. That's going to help that physical body calm down. And that's going to help you live in a more creative space, in a more loving space, more compassion. Your ability to say, hey, something's going on here. I got to slow down a little bit. So take a deep breath. Unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders. And I'll see you in the next episode. Remember, you are loved. I'll see you next time.